Hey, how's it going, everyone? Taking a second, and we're going to talk about the Blood Death Knight. Oh, this was my baby during Mists of Pandaria. Unfortunately, I didn't really do too much with it in Warlords of Draenor. Got it to 100, and then went and rocked out the Warrior, and been there ever since. I do plan to gear this guy out a little bit later on. But right now, I just want to talk to you about some of the talents, glyphs, spells, things that have changed from Mists of Pandaria into Warlords of Draenor that maybe you just haven't looked at. You haven't picked up your Death Knight, or you haven't made a Death Knight. You want to make a Death Knight. Everybody makes a Death Knight. So let's get right into it. First things first, you got your big two-handed weapon. You want to use your rune forging. Stone Skin Gargoyle. Armor increased by 4%. Stamina increased by 2%. No questions. Gotta have it. Especially now the way tanking is. It's all about how much damage you don't take. You want that 4% armor. So, into talents. Alright, so from level 56 to 60, if you don't know this, you're going to get those pretty quick throughout the starting area for Death Knights. Level 56 talents, we have Plague Bearer, Plague Leech, and Unholy Blight. I'm not a big fan of Plague Bearer, because I don't use Necrotic Plague as much. We'll get to that one. And my Blood Boil, it does it for me. I don't need another passive to do something that an ability I'm actively using does for me. Unholy Blight, almost the same way. Every minute and a half I can infect everyone around me with my plagues. Or I can Blood Boil and do the same thing. No. Plague Leech, however, if I have, Icy, or, oh god, brain fart. Frost Fever, there we go, excuse me, I was about to call it Frost something. Frost Fever and Blood Plague on them, then I can pull those off with Plague Leech and get my runes back. I'm sorry, that sounds like a winner to me. Then moving on to 57, we got Lichborn, Anti-Magic, and Purgatory. Anti-Magic, 3 seconds. Really? You time that wrong, you're not going to get anything out of it. You're just not. Lichborn, that to me feels more PvP. Charm, Fear, Sleep. Not a lot of raids doing that, not a lot of dungeons doing that. Occasionally, but, not as much. Purgatory, oh crap, I just got hit in the face really effing hard, and now I'm not dead. Mr. Heals, please heal me. That's what it is. Downside to it is, though, if the healer isn't tracking that Purgatory proc, and they're not actively healing you, which they should be because you're almost dead at that point, then the absorption is going to kill you, because it absorbs the amount of damage that would have killed you, and the healer has to heal that up first, and then start healing you. So, kind of sucks. But at the same time, you didn't die. Level 58, Death's Advance, Chillbane's Asphyxiate. Alright, Death's Advance is pretty good. It's a movement one. Weird that a movement ability would be in, third tier. Usually that's the first tier for these, talents. But, again, you can bump your movement up, can't be slowed. For fights where there's a lot of moving around, like getting knocked back and things like that, maybe. I don't find it all that important. Chillbanes, slow your enemy. Woohoo! I'm sorry, tanking, don't care. PvP. Definitely, I would say for PvP, that one, these two would be pretty good. Asphyxiate, it's a stun. It replaces one of your silences with a stun that can silence. I'm sorry, that's 2 now. I have a 2-in-1 button. Oh boy. Plus, I've got Mind Freeze. I've got 2 silences now. And I'm a Tauren, I've got my War Stomp, but don't worry about that. Alright, so level 60. This is where I personally have difficulty, and I'll explain to you why. Blood Tap, I'm moving my mouse all over the place. Blood Tap is an active form of rebuilding your runes. You're going to, every 15 runic power you spend is going to get you a blood charge up to 12. It costs 5 blood charges to get 1 rune, 1 death rune back. The downside to that is it's just another button you have to click, or a button you have to keybind, or a macro you have to build. It's just something else you have to add into how you're playing. I used it a lot during Mists of Pandaria because I wanted that control, but that was also back when, I think that's when Blood Death Knights were broken. We were way too overpowered. You'd fight a raid boss and be the lowest in damage taken as the tank. So, maybe they fixed it. I'm going to dig some more into that. But anyway, so it's more active. You're going to have to engage it. Runic Empowerment, Runic Corruption. you've got a 1.5% chance per runic power spent to activate a fully depleted rune. Alright, so 1.5 times 30 is whatever. I'm tired. Leave me alone. Don't judge me. Anyway, that's your percentage chance per death coil. Let's use that as an example to get one rune back. And just like with runic corruption, 1.5% chance to increase your runic generation by 100%. Now the difference between these two, they kind of seem similar. Difference is runic empowerment has a chance to give you one full rune, whereas runic corruption has a chance to increase your regeneration rate by 100, which means you will have one of each rune coming back, because you can only have one of each rune coming back at a time. You're not going to have 2 bloods coming back, 2 frost, or 2 unholy, but you can have one of each coming back. So in that instance, you now have a increased rate of your 3 runes coming back. I'm going with that one because I'm trying to find a smooth transition, through my runes using them. I spam death coil like the button's gonna break. So I'm still not done with that one, but I think that one's more personal based. Just which do you feel comfortable with? I don't like blood tap now, so it's up to you. It really is. All right, level 75. This is sustainment. This is keeping yourself, another form of keeping yourself alive. Death pack. Man, Blizz, what'd you do? What'd you do to me? Death pack used to be that was my oh crap button. I had a macro. I could summon my ghoul and then cast death pack in one click. Just boom. And I would get 50% of my health back. Just automatic. I never used my ghoul as a tank. I didn't care. So that was his point. It would summon him and kill him within 2 seconds, and I'd get 50% of my health back. That had saved me so many times in raids. Now I get 50% of my max health back, which is great. I love it. But 25% of my health is an absorption. I'm not getting heals. So if you use that during your oh crap moments where you're like getting punched in the face too hard, you're probably still getting punched in the face really hard, and I'm now having to overexert yourself to actively mitigate damage so that you not only can compensate for the fact that you had to use this, but you're now getting 25% of your health is not getting healed until the healer breaks through that shield or that absorption. So you have a better chance of dying. I don't like Death Pack now. I don't like it. I will never use it. I'm playing with Death Siphon just because it costs a death rune. When you use Death Strike, when it regenerates, it becomes a death rune. When that rune regenerates, it becomes a death rune. So now you can Death Strike, and then you just keep a death rune on cooldown ready to go. And you can Death Siphon 400% of the damage dealt as health. So, not bad. Conversion, man, I tried using conversion. I really did. Couldn't really get into it. I don't like it because it's up too fast. It reminds me of the Warriors' Blood Craze, but Blood Craze is a passive, and I love it. Conversion is an active ability, and it's almost like you're constantly spamming it whenever you have runic power, but you can't use Death Coil or it's going to go away. Conversion could be so much better, but it's just not there yet. I think Death Siphon it has no penalty, it has no real upkeep. You just one death rune, pew, 400% of the damage is health. You're good to go. Level 90. Alright, I want to say Desecrated Ground and Remorseless Winter are more PvP based as well, unless you're DPSing, but we ain't DPSing, we's be tanks. But that's just my feel on it. I've tried using them. I don't like Remorseless Winter's tanking. I mean, you can freeze them, but let's just kill them. Let's just kill them. I like Gorfine's Grasp because you can pull everyone in. I've had so much fun with this ability too. But you can just move ads away. You can move them in. I love it for 5 mans as well as trash pulls for raids. Just keep everything tight. I also like using it when you have a healer who's trying to be funny. You can Gorfine's Grasp all of the ads to your healer and scare the crap out of them. That was a hilarious raid night. She got so mad. Alright, continuing on to level 100. Alright, these are our new fancy schmancy spells. Not too bad. Necrotic Plague does pretty decent damage. 2 runic power whenever a target infected attempts to attack you. But if you're fighting a boss and you only have one person hitting you, that ain't building up to nothing. It really isn't. This is one of those moments where between Necrotic Plague and Defile, I will switch regularly. I will keep tomes on me and switch regularly. You know, Necrotic Plague for big trash pulls, Defile for small trash pulls, or vice versa. I don't remember at this point. But anyway, it's how you want to play. I like Defile because of that 10% less damage you take, and it gets bigger. It looks cool. I think it looks pretty cool. But I like that 10% less damage because, you know, you've got so many abilities. You know, you got your Bone Shield, it's 20%. You got your Blood Tap, it's 40%. You got your Icebound Fortitude is 50%, and Defile is 10%. You know, I mean, you're just stacking up all these abilities that are just reducing your damage. You're doing pretty good. You know, that's all you're doing. You're stacking that, plus you're getting your Absorption Shield from Death Strike, because you should be spamming that. Well, not really, because we'll go over that. Alright, so quick look at the glyphs, because not that fancy. I like Anti-Magic Shell, just big magic absorption. Icy Touch, get rid of a magic effect. Comes in handy. And Vampiric Blood, instead of getting the bonus health, you get an additional 10% healing. So I tend to use that regularly. It only has a 1 minute cooldown, so I try to keep that during times, because there's always a time during a fight where you know damage is going to increase. So you use that, and it helps that increased heals coming in, and it mitigates that increase of damage. You know, of course, I got my Winter, and now I like that my Army of the Dead doesn't taunt, because even though I should keep aggro going, if they leap around or anything, it just keeps control in my hand. I think everyone should have that. As a matter of fact, I think they just need to go ahead and take the taunt off of Army of the Dead. It's pointless. It really is. It's a pretty good cooldown though. And then my Menagerie. But that's pretty much it for talents and glyphs. We'll move right into a couple spells. Just want to talk about a few things. First and foremost, Army of the Dead. Thank you, Blizzard. Thank you, Blizzard. Thank you, Blizzard. Army of the Dead is now an instant cast. It is not a channel. It is an instant cast. I've seen a lot of people who will, you know, they will cast Army of the Dead pre-pull. I used to do that all the time. Or wait till, you know, just they'll have to channel it. And it was good to channel. I would wait till, you know, Bloodlust at the 30%, 20%, you know, whatever the mark was for that raid boss. And, you know, you would give your Army of the Dead up in like 2 seconds, and then just they would charge in and jump all over the place. But now it's instant. You can pull the boss, and as you're pulling him, hit that button, and while you're going in, you still have complete control of your character, and your army is just popping up, and they'll just jump in as they go. I love that change. Best change ever. Hello, Blood Boil. Yeah, Blood Boil. Spread my diseases. And it increases the healing from Death Strike by 20%, stacking up to 5 times. That's a good form of mitigation. You want to get that going. You've got a nice good flow of, you know, your healer's keeping damage off of you using your cooldowns to keep damage off of you. You know, Bone Shield should be up at all times. You can get that up to 3, 4, 5 stacks. Get that 100% increased healing, and then 100% increase to your shield. I try not to use it. I try to, instead of spamming Death Strike, I try to time it out to where I'm not using it until it's like no less than 2 or 3. Hello, Bone Shield, 20%. Boop, love it. Dancing Rune Weapon, 20% parry chance while it's active every minute and a half. Can't beat it. There's your taunt, Dark Command, Death Coil. Oh lord. Okay, Death Coil is now your go-to button. It's your smash button. Instead of Rune Strike, it used to be. You don't have Rune Strike anymore. Now it's Death Coil. Death Coil, Death Coil, Death Coil. Which is hilarious because as a tank in Mists of Pandaria, I never used Death Coil. It wasn't even on my bar. Just didn't care. It could have not existed. I wouldn't have cared. So now, that was a huge bit of growing pain for me. Like trying to remember, oh, I've got a Death Coil. You know, that's what I'm using to use my runic power up. And so it was painful. Painful. Death Grip, a second taunt. Yep, Death Knights had 2 taunts. Hello, Death Siphon. Death Strike. Oh, there you are. One of the best tanking abilities I've ever seen. Just heal yourself, get a shield, and keep on trucking. And it was OP as crap in Mists of Pandaria. Empowered Rune Weapon. This is your back to the fight button. Alright, you know, your runes are gone. You've got no runic power. You're just sitting there with your thumb up. Okay, anyway. You know, you got nothing to do. You click that button, you are right back into the fight. You know, that's it. You're right back into it. Ah, beautiful. And there is a glyph for your DPS sets that gives you gives you a healing too. Frost Presence, don't care. Gorfine's Grasp, so I talked about you. Horn, there's your horn. Icy Touch, Icebound Fortitude. Alright, Outbreak, Instant, Blood Plague, and Frost. Man, I just cannot say those tonight. Blood, Plague, and Frost Fever. There we go. Now that I do not use. I see a lot of people say, oh yeah, you want to pull with Outbreak. Nah, bro, no, you don't. I save Outbreak for Plague Leech. I will notice I've got my plagues on there. They're getting kind of low. I don't have the runes I need. I will Plague Leech and then Outbreak, and everything's right back to normal. Can't beat it. Raise Alley if your buddies die, but they shouldn't, unless they're weak. There's Rune Tap. 1 blood rune to reduce all damage taken by 40% for 3 seconds. I feel like that should last a little bit longer, because to me 3 seconds is just long enough to get kicked in the teeth. So if you time it wrong, you're still gonna get kicked in the teeth. Rune Forging to get your runes. Soul Reaper, that's your execute. Vampiric Blood. There. Okay, Crimson Scourge. Scourge. Yeah, Crimson Scourge. You get that 10% chance to make your Blood Plague, your Blood Boil, Defile, or Death and Decay cost no runes. That's an amazing thing, especially for Blood Boil. I tend to not use Blood Boil unless it's free and I don't have to pay for it. Love it. Alright, Bone Shield gets 2 more charges. Now, here's one of the reasons why you're going to be using Death Coil a lot. Enhanced Death Coil. Your Death Coil is going to grant you Shatter of Death, increasing your maximum health by 3% for 30 seconds. Gracious! And then it builds. I've seen this almost at 30%. That's why I was trying to talk 2 things at once. I've seen this go almost at 30% of your health. So it's kind of like Shaman Heals on top of you. You're going to get that increased health. And you can also get increased health from Shaman Heals. Let's see. Death Grip, cooldown lowered. Woo! Rune Tap. Recharge time lowered. Yeah! Nothing important. Increased Mastery. There's Purgatory. Resolve. Just like every tank gets Resolve. The damage increases your healing and absorption done by yourself based on the damage taken, your raw damage, in the last 10 seconds. Being a Death Knight, that is the -- way to build your blood shield. Blood shield? Yeah. Your shield from Death Strike. You're going to track your resolve. That's a tricky thing. I'm getting better at it. I'm going to try to find a way, an add-on or something to help me track it because I'm lazy. You can hear that from me. Runic Strikes. 5% more multi-strike. Yay! Multi-strike is actually pretty good for a Death Knight. I'll go over that in a little bit. Pretty much the same. Oh yeah, if you get to 30% health or lower, free Rune Tap. Once every 30 seconds. And that's pretty much it. Not a whole lot of changes to Death Knight in the abilities portion. Just, I don't know, just felt different playing it. Alright, I am looking at my gear now. I'm not that high geared. I'm probably not even the best geared, and good slots and all that good stuff. But one thing I want to talk about is the stats. Mastery. Because of Death Strike. Death Strike, if you look under Mastery here, each time you heal yourself with Death Strike while in Blood Presence, you gain 35%, which is because I have 35% Mastery, of the amount healed as a physical damage and absorption shield. Man, I'm just not talking well tonight. That is important. That is your active mitigation because you're going to be using Death Strike a lot. The higher your Mastery, the higher the shield, the less damage you're taking when you get punched in the face. Alright. Now, there's another thing you can do. And I'm going to bring up my abilities too. Let me see if I can find it. Where's it at? Okay, so if you do multi-strike, if you want to go the multi-strike route, anytime your auto attacks multi-strike, you generate 15 runic power. If you have high multi-strike, you're going to have a high influx of runic power. And so you're going to be using Death Coil more, and if you even have a high enough influx of it, you can go to Conversion, and that will have an amazing uptime. That's if you go that route. And then Critical Strike just means more damage, bigger heal, bigger shield. Okay? As you can see, I'm at 12.3% for both, so I haven't quite made up my mind yet. Honestly, I have not made up my mind on this one. I can't figure out which one works better for me. But in the end, it's all about what works better for you. So, when you're going out to tank, get your bone shield, blow your horn, get that army going, and defile the ground, and have a good time. I hope this gave you a little bit of insight on some of the, hello family, some of the just different changes, some of the abilities, little ways to look at the Blood Death Knight. I'm going to get into some gameplay here soon and try to get that for you as soon as possible so you can kind of see the Blood Death Knight in action. I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to check out some of the other guides I've done, and I will see you next time. Laters!